All right, let's go to the board, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Let's get to the slate. So we're just going to run this through. That'll include the Egg Bowl, little pro, little college. Let's start out. It's the holiday here. It's the Lions laying 7.5 against the Packers. And remember what I said earlier. This is a day for favorites. I don't do homerism. This is a Lions spot right here. Packers come in flying high off a win. They had no business getting it. I mean, the Chargers, Quentin Johnson drops a surefire TD. Keenan Allen drops 2 third-down passes. But they come in, and the Lions know they got away with one. The Lions are at home. It's one of the great home field advantages right now in the NFL. Short turn, it's a holiday here. You're not going to have an invasion of opposing fans because fans are hanging on to their tickets. These tickets are going for over $500 a pop. I'm laying the 7.5. Packers do not stop the run. The Lions are a terrible matchup for the Packers. I do not trust Jordan Love, much less on the road. And for me, the 7.5 is the I got you $1 special. If this were 6.5, I'd feel more confident the other way. They're begging you to take the Packers, and I'm not doing it.
So let me ask you this. In regards to this and the game last week with the Lions and the Bears, it's the same line.
We had the Bears.
And you went with the Bears. Because I personally think the Packers are better than the Bears. Now, maybe not this week with the injuries to Musgrove and Aaron Jones isn't going to play.
Right.
But is it just the fact that on the holiday and in the home field that's going to flip your pick from last week?
And it's an up-down league. So, the thought process here is, are the Packers really capable of playing well again? Are the Packers capable of a short turn coming in here? I just think Aaron Glenn, this defense, there's going to be a response. I think Jared Goff, worst game arguably as a Lion, a response, a couple of bad breaks. And the matchup is everything to me. The Bears actually make it hard for you to run the ball. They do.
Yeah.
The Packers' run D is horrible.
Okay.
I think this is a game the Lions can feast, no pun intended, line up and smash, and that leads me to part 2. Jahmyr Gibbs, over 43.5 rushing yards. I have watched the Packers a bunch, and I'm telling you, they get creased a lot. They give up the edge a lot. Jahmyr Gibbs is the yin to David Montgomery's yang, and I think he's got an opportunity here to pop a big one. 43.5 feels very fair. Last week, the carry count, Montgomery with 12, Gibbs with 8. Different game flow. You probably end up Montgomery closer to 20 carries, Gibbs closer to 14. If you spec out 14 carries for 43 yards, that makes sense to me. I like Gibbs over 43.5 yards.
I love it. I mean, it almost sounds too easy, and I think that's what kind of scares me away from it.
And Evans just killed the bet.
No, I
was trying to help your parlay.
He's played so damn well this year when he's gotten in and gotten the reps in order to do so. You're saying 14 into 40, what is that, 4 yards a pop? He should be able to bust off a couple 15-yard runs and get that in the first half.
Well, let's not get carried away.
I
know it does, but don't get carried away. This is going to be me tonight
when I'm making this parlay. It can't lose.
Listen, I'm just giving it to you, 43.5 if you want it. I like over for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to take the Lions, and if you want player props, you can bet the Gibbs thing.
And that is also the Hungry Howie's delivery of the week.
Hungry Howie's delivery of the week, the official flavored crust pizza of Cash the Ticket, the podcast. Apologies. Thank you to Hungry Howie's. Let's go to the next game in the mix. Commanders, this number is running like Forrest Gump. 12.5 currently, time of taping. Cowboys, Commanders. Look, Cowboys at home are a machine. Go look at the games. Go look at how they play. But that stat about the Cowboys being 1-11 against the number on Thanksgiving, the fact that the Commanders will shamelessly throw the ball 50 times, the fact that I got backdoored by the New York Giants and Richie James last year on Thanksgiving when the Cowboys were up huge and then collapsed late, this would be a Commanders or pass for me. That is too many points in a divisional game, and the Commanders, that's a dead cat bounce. They played their worst game of the season last year against the Giants. I would lean Commanders. I'm probably not touching this game, sadly.
Really? Even with knowing that stat of the 1-11 or whatever
Commanders or pass. I kind of want to let this number run. I mean, look,
do you think it's going to get higher before the kick at, 4 p.m. on Thursday afternoon?
Look,
because it's 12.5.
I know. I'm trying to see if could it get to 13. Could it get to 13.5? I mean, look, Evan, this number has been flying. It started out at 9.5. And right now, I just don't want to walk into one here.
What are the Commanders even playing for right now? Just a sense of pride. Howell's going to play for his job, essentially.
Well, look,
man.
matchup-wise, does it make sense? I mean, here's what I would compare it to. It's like Dolphins-Raiders this week. Do you know the Raiders, or the Dolphins had, God, what was it? It was their first 9 or 10 possessions. None of them ended in a punt. One problem. They didn't score. All weird things kept happening.
Yeah.
Dolphins should have blown out the Raiders. Weird stuff happens. When I look at Cowboys-Commanders, I look at a Commanders team that can't pass protect against a Cowboys team that feasts with their pass rush. That would worry me a little bit about the Commanders. The other angle, too, is what you said. Do the Commanders just lay down and quit?
Yeah.
Trade deadline, played real hard out of it, lose heartbreaker to Seattle. Into play against Giants, 10-point favorites, clown car, get blown out. Now they got to go on the road on Thanksgiving and go to Dallas. Things could get hard early. Could they lay down? It's the only game I don't really love aside.
And that's probably the best move is when you don't, and we can poke holes on either side. It's a game that you want to stay away from.
I mean, if you wanted an angle, since you are doing the brotherly love parlay, what about a little look to the over?
What is
sitting
that?
at 48.5. You know the Commanders are going to throw it 50 times. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are trying to put out a statement.
Right,
too.
you're the one who wants to have a 17-leg parlay to change lives. Go ahead.
All right.
Let me give you the nightcap game, Niners, Seahawks, and remembering what we said about favorites, it is against my sensibilities to take a divisional road favorite, but here we are. Geno Smith will play. The number indicates that. It was at 6. It's gone to 7. It bounced down to 6.5 with the news Geno would give it a go. It's settling at 7, and the book probably is going to leave it there. Anything north of 7, I'm not touching. I don't even love betting the 7.
Doesn't look like Kenneth Walker will play.
No, and the Niners now they're back. I mean, they're put together again. They're healthy. They're a machine. And I've told you I don't like Seattle. Last week we talked about it. I said it's Rams or pass, and I don't trust them. And the Niners come to town and they bully you and they physical you. And I just don't. I really worry about if Geno plays against this front. What's that going to look like? Now, here's what gives me pause. Shanahan is a favorite of north of a field goal. Stats are not good. You're asking for a pick, I give you the Niners. To me, the Niners and Lions are the two ones I like. I'm ice cold right now in the NFL the last 2 weeks, so I'm a little scared. But if you're asking, pick each game.
Yeah.
It would be Lions, it would be Commanders, it would be Niners.
Okay.
But I'm going to put all three of these into a tease.
Ooh.
We're going to do a turkey tease.
All right.
Because it's going to lead me to the Black Friday game, which I want to get to now, and then we'll go to Thanksgiving for college for the Egg Bowl. Dolphins, Jets.
At 3 p.m.? Why 3 p.m.? If you're going to do that on Black Friday, do it at night, right?
Black Friday was always college football's day.
It was Nebraska and Iowa.
And still is, which I have a pick for, by the way. We're going to get to it. But this game was interesting to me because the Dolphins now go on the road. They didn't play well last week, but they won. The Jets absolutely hit rock bottom. But Tim Boyle's getting the start.
Oof.
Yeah, but you got to ask yourself, isn't there a 1-week bounce? We always talk about this. When an OC gets fired, there's a 1-week bounce. When a QB gets benched, there's a 1-week bounce. Could the Jets, remember, Dolphins want finesse. The Dolphins want to play pretty. This is going to be outside. It's going to be cold. It's going to be the Jets defense. Now, if you're telling me, Mike, the Jets have quit, they're radioactive, I totally get it. I'm saying if you're forcing me to play this game, I got to take the 10. It has hit 10 at several sports books. Don't you have to take the 10 that the Jets still have an outside shot. They want to keep playing. They feel like, hey, if we win a few games, I think they're insane. Aaron Rodgers could come back.
Yeah, well, that's crazy that he says in 2 weeks. If he comes back, he didn't have a torn Achilles. I'm 100% convinced on that.
I'm with you.
The problem that I have with the Jets is we saw Tim Boyle here in Detroit last year. And
2 years ago.
2 years ago. But that's what the Jets kind of remind me of, is that Lions team from 2 years ago where they had nothing going. And you talk about the bounce back, but the only thing I can think of is Tim Boyle bouncing passes to the receivers and not getting there. And that's what would make me the most nervous. But you know what? He's he was a Hackett guy, right, in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, so he understands that.
And if he's going to go in and play loose, play free, he's going to push football down the field.
Sure.
I'm just telling you, I think the Jets are interesting.
Okay.